drinking water like that.
Well, I'm telling you, bro. I'm focused, bro. I'm focused, man. Yeah, inside out.
You know who I am by now.
What do you identify as?
You know, hey. When Alex takes a shower, the dude goes for 3 hours. I mean, it's like, you know he's going to be gone for a while. You have time. Do whatever you're going to do. Go grocery shopping. Go eat dinner.
Latin spice and neon lights.
I always laugh every time.
Good. Yeah, I know. Good evening, Miami and other places. Welcome to another episode of East Century Boys straight out of Hialeah. Of course, I'm in Franklin and Alex is in Doral, but we grew up straight out of Hialeah. So you're getting us straight out of Hialeah. But thank you for watching and tuning in. So much to talk about. I just got home from Buffalo Wild Wings. What do you call it? BWW?
Yeah.
B-dubs?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, so did
It
that.
sounds like a surgery, like a plastic surgeon does here in Miami, like the BBLs.
Yeah.
Like BWW.
So
Big
just got down there,
wide
ran in the house, changed because we were doing we were at the trampoline park and I had to buy $11 socks to jump with Ellie. And
Doesn't that piss you off?
oh dude,
$11 socks that you're never going to use again?
never going to use again.
Well, the kids sometimes use it at the house. So do your kids use it?
Audrey uses them. Yeah,
Okay.
Audrey does. Yeah. And but yeah, so we did that. So I was sweating. So I was like, I told Tati, I was like, I got to do the show. And I was like, oh, she's like, oh, I was like, let's try the new shirt. So the new shirt on, it's the East Century Boy shirt. Let's roll. A lot to talk about. I mean, not just anywhere.
Russ.
Heat, Dolphins, Marlins, and now I see Marlins. There's Russ Morgan. You're gonna catch him on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm pretty sure I got that right, Russ. Forgive me if I didn't. I know you'll correct me. But Russ is going to talk about the surging Marlins.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about the draft that's coming up. Russ is going to cover the draft. He'll be with Q, and I believe Will, and whoever else wants to join him. I may pop in there just say hello, even though I know nothing about college baseball. But I'm just very thankful for Russ to do that for FTSN. So make sure you guys are paying attention and tuning into that. But there is so much to talk about and a whole lot of time. It's the 4th of July tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to work. I'm off. I get to chill. So we got some time. But before we get into any of that, my brother, how the hell are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Excited about what's coming down Miami in regards to our Heat. I know people are a little nervous, and I just want to tell them, like, we've been through this before, okay? We've been through these situations before, and like Russ just said, it's an exciting time in regards to all sports. I know we're all on edge now with the Dolphins, and we'll discuss this a little bit later too in the show. But it's just a fun time. It's summertime. Kids are having fun. It's like you're saying, tomorrow's 4th of July, so it's a relax, it's a chill time just to hang out. How are you doing? Because you always ask me how I'm doing, but I never ask you how you're doing.
Because you don't.
How
care.
are you doing?
You don't give a damn how.
I mean, I have to do it. It's just adequate. You ask me on air how I'm doing. I look like an asshole.
Nah, yeah. I get it. I'm fine. I legitimately I'm tired, but I'm good. I'm ready to go. And Alex said it before the show, and it's true. We did not coordinate the beards,
No, I promise you. I promise
we did
you.
not
This
do
just
it.
happened organically.
And it's the same way. The same thing you said. I was shaving. I was trimming my beard because I like to leave it long here and kind of go down there. But I started going, do I want to try something different? And I was like, all of a sudden, right at the sideburn, I go,
yeah.
And
You do it on purpose, and you're like, a point of no return.
Oh no, I can't go back. It's too late now.
You know where I start? I start by the goatee. So like when you shave this, you can go back because even here you can kind of fade it in if you want to. But I'm like, I start like right there. So I'm like, yeah. Oh, it's gone.
Next time tell I was in happy hour. Yes, I heard you were in happy hour.
Yes. Good times.
Yes, I bet. And sounds like a good time. Yeah, we were at the Buffalo Wild. We have B dibs. But no,
B dibs. That's what we're calling it now. B dibs.
B dibs. We got the B dibs. But no, I got to look into the Marlins, and maybe Russ could tell me because I meant to look into it. But what's the legitimate chance? Do they still have a shot? I mean, it's crazy. It's a long shot.
Oh yeah.
But is it still early enough that they could?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
We're maybe halfway into the baseball season.
Okay.
So you got 162 games, but it's not only about that. And I'm pretty sure Russ can elaborate. This is the team that, and I was texting Ralph the other day. Actually, we were talking about this. still some of our best arm talents are still in the minors. Some of the best talent that we have, they still got to bring up De Los Santos, Joe Mack. Like, this team is young, they're carefree, they have nothing to lose. So there was no expectations, and you have people forget. And I use this example of the Panthers maybe 5 to 6 years ago. They're still they're in that development. They're in that second tier of development where they're still young enough, and there's still so many pieces that as they continue to grow and the lineup continues to even out, you have talent across the board. So Bendix, like we talked about a few years ago, we're gonna do.
I like it how he's just answering in pieces, not the whole thing.
Yeah.
No,
No,
unfortunately, for your sake.
Real expectations when you have a young team, you're gonna go through ups and downs. Are we
Absolutely,
gonna make the playoffs? Probably not.
that's what I was
But
saying. No, like
yeah,
realistically,
yeah.
no. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, if by the math, like for whatever reason they,
Yeah.
can they, is it, you know what I'm saying? But I know realistically, no.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But let's talk about, because he was bringing up the young pieces with the Marlins,
Correct.
and again, there's gonna be a whole lot of Marlins talk on Sunday and baseball talk, and Russ kills it every time. And if you want, like Alex, with basketball knowledge, and I'm talking about on court, the mentality on the court, and how conditioning and it's the inner parts of the game. That's what Russ is for baseball. Like, if you want the inner workings of the game and the player and the field, and I mean, it's not just the outside of it, like, oh, this could happen, this trade could happen, this team is doing really good. No, it's not all that. It's also the field, the system, the players. This is how they could work off each other. This is how this guy may be a good hitter, but on the field, this guy's not. Outside, it's not that great. That's what Russ is. He gives you but football, it's X's and O's. That's what he is for baseball. And he knows it's X's and O's too. He talks college football, he talks pro football. So go check out Russ on Sunday, FTSN Extra, On Deck, baseball, killing it. Looking forward to that. But
yes, Thomas White, our lefty, and Noble Mayer. I'm telling you, the catcher's Joe Mack, which is funny because with Ramirez and Mack, one of them is going to be our DH, or one of them is going to play first base eventually.
Yeah. I love the young guns. But let me tell you, talking about young guns, if you remember before the end of the season for the Heat,
yes,
one of the things that I hit on, or one of the things that I was banging the table for, that I said, I know, because every time a name comes up, one of these names, any name, it's as big as Kevin Durant and as low as whoever you can think of. And I'm not saying a bad player, but like right now, right? We got Damian Lillard just got released, waived, which is crazy.
We will talk about that. That's insane.
You could probably get him for, you probably get him real cheap. Correct. But anytime there's a name, Heat fans are like, we need to get him. We need to get those guys. And one thing I told you before the end of, or at the end of the season was I am done chasing whales. Adrian of Rainy Day Pod. Shout out to Adrian, man. Guys, if you haven't watched him or seen his channel, you're crazy. Go check out the Rainy Day Pod. He kills it. He talks Heat, Dolphins, Marlins, wrestling. He talks it all. And he'll be joining us a lot more on FTSN. He does the Florida Cats and Dirty Rats podcast. He kills it. So, and I know he was talking about this earlier tonight with Lou and Ashley on with 305 Sports Baby.
Yeah,
talking about all this. So, yeah, they are. But one thing I was saying was that I brought up was I want the Heat to kind of move forward, focusing on their youth, build on their youth, embrace that youth movement, right? And, because I'm done chasing whales. I'm not going to waste my energy or my time. We could talk about it, but I'm not going to go, oh, I hope they do it. Because then when they don't do it, you get disappointed and you get all these angry Nancy's on Twitter and, oh, the Heat suck, retire Pat Riley, oh, boo-hoo. You know what I'm saying? It's like, stop. You don't know what you got. We got some legitimate dudes back there. Now I'll tell you where the difference is, why that doesn't matter or why it matters. I mean, talking about Khalil Ware, we don't know what his second year is going to be like.
Correct.
We know he doesn't have any touch the ceiling. If you love what you saw in his rookie year, wait for a second year. Let's see what he is in his second year. Jovic, we haven't got a full tray of him yet. We haven't got a full feel of him yet.
Yeah.
This guy's ceiling is higher than most people want to bring up or talk about. That's why a lot of teams ask for him, because of the ceiling. He's not that guy yet. It's what he can be, and it's the potential that's there. So let's see what he looks like next year if you go ahead and feature him. Jaquez, first off, I love all my rooks, so I'm just gonna I'm biased, but at the same time, it's fact. I'm gonna say Jaquez, we know his first year was really good. It was surprising. A lot of people said that was a steal of the draft. Second year was a struggle. That happens. Third year, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not done with Jaquez. I'm not ready to give up on him. I'm not ready to bench him. I'm not ready to trade him. Keep hitch on to him and see what he can do for you, because this guy, whether in the rotation or as a starter eventually, whatever, that guy's going to be good. And then Kaspers, KJ, however you want to, I'm not going to try to say his name because I'm going to butcher it. That was a steal.
Joker.
I'm not even going to try. You can say it again. I won't do it. I'm going to say KJ, Kaspers. Yeah, Todd. No, we were just saying that. We didn't, we didn't even coordinate. But I think I've seen a lot of people on, and respectable people too, in the Miami Heat podcast verse, media verse. I've seen fans. Some of them are embracing this. I think Adrian is one of those guys, like me, Alex, and who is embracing that. Like you, you go with the flow. But this is what I love about it. I will say this: what the Heat are doing is something that Alex, even though Alex will entertain all the stars and has not given up on any star chasing before this, Alex, I'm going to say this ahead of time because I want to get this out, has always been about building on the youth. Even guys that are like, Alex, what are we talking about? Bobby, I'm telling you, this guy in the summer league, we got to call him up. He should be a starter in 10 years. He'll be one of the all-stars. And he doesn't. But this is something that, and I finally said, I'm doing this. I want to go with it because we got the core young guys. And I'm not talking about Bam and Tyler. I'm talking about the guys we've just drafted. I believe in this core guys that I think that if you allow these guys to grow organically, you let them, and that means organically, that means letting them play, letting them fail, letting them grow, letting them learn how to play together. And then as they get better, that's when you go ahead and go, okay, and you keep using your draft picks to get those guys, get more guys to go with the roster until you find superstar. But eventually when you start going, holy shit, we got a good young squad here, man. These guys are like, and that's when you go, okay, now go get that one guy. Now, or like OKC. OKC didn't, nobody knew what we knew he's good. We knew he could be great, but nobody knew that was an MVP. But they went and got him. And now look, what was it for the Paul George deal? Is that where they got him?
Yeah, they got SGA and 5 draft picks for Paul George.
That's okay. So this is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Think about what that narrative was before that trade was done. It's, Paul George, the Clippers, they're going to go to the finals with Paul George. You're going to win. Yeah. They finally did the move that's going to win. Who ended up winning the finals off that trade?
Correct.
Was OKC.
Yeah.
Where's Paul George right now? In Philly. Can't even get on the court. This is what I'm telling people. But people, I see all these people all pissed off and mad. Oh, the Heat never get the superstar. We're always going to be, Pat Riley is sleeping and blah, 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 all this bull crap. How many of these guys that have been traded to these teams that made these deals, how many of them won championships? Give me a list. Tell me. I mean, I don't have to wait long because I probably one, maybe none. Not many. It's the teams that are growing organically. That's what the Heat need to do. Now, here's the change. And this is Alex, you respond, but I want you also to talk on this part. This is where it matters, which I understand coming from some of the critics of the youth movement, is Coach Spo needs to play the youth guys. He had the younger guys. That's the difference. When these guys when Alex goes, man, Pele Larson, Jovic, Jaquez, we need to see a different rotation. Why don't I see this guy up here? Man, why is this guy not showing? And then because Coach Spo at the end of the game, we're like, I don't understand how this guy didn't get minutes. Why are we playing these other guys that aren't doing anything? Look, if Terry Rozier is still on this roster next year, it is what it is. We know what he's done before. We know he could be good. We know sometimes he could play great, but we know how bad he could be as well. Right. If he's still on this roster next year, it's not a bad thing if he's coming off the bench for he's not a starter, but we don't know. He might be some, but Coach Spo's the one who's going to have to adjust to start trusting the young guys and trust the fall. That's my thing. Trust I know. I know. We all know Terry. We want
No, yeah.
Terry gone.
Terry,
But
even if he's here, he won't be on. He won't be taking up court time from your development in your court. That's one thing for sure.
here's the thing. I believe that
Mhm.
if Alex was the coach, if I'm the GM and Alex is the coach, I believe Terry Rozier would not see, big time minutes in a court. I know that Jovic, Hawkins would be a rotational player. Jovic would probably be running the point. Whatever. Kale Larson. I mean, Ware would be the starter center. Bam will be at the four. I know what our roster would look like, Alex.
For sure.
I know that. Of course, I'm the GM because I got 4 picks right, and I'm 5 picks or whatever the hell it is.
I'll let you be GM. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. And you're the coach. I let you be the coach.
You're fine.
You know what I'm saying? I see a vision. We got it. But I would believe that, Alex, if you were the coach. But I love Coach Spo. He's top 5. He's probably the best coach. I will say that in the NBA, and I'm not one of these people who say to fire him. Not at all. I'm not even there. Love Coach Spo. But that is a flaw of his. He doesn't, and maybe because the mindset is we need to get the best guys, the veteran experience out there, so we can make a legitimate run. I'm saying no. Let's forget that for a minute and let's focus on the youth. Allow these guys to grow organically. Let them fail. Let us take our licks. We've been good for a very long time. Now let's just kind of grow organically. That's where I'm at with this Heat team. I love the idea of embracing the youth movement. I'm all for it for Miami Heat right now. Where do you stand?
Well, and I'm going to touch on the rest of the NBA a little bit later on the show, but I want to start my response to this with a simple. Spo now is kind of like an elder statesman in the coaching circles, but people forget that when Spo started, he was the youngest coach in the NBA, and he was very innovative in regards to the style of play. Remember the pace and space? He learned from Chip Kelly, the pace and space offense. He was the one that really started small ball, and when he started playing Bosch at the 5. So in terms of, I hear a lot of conversations about we need an offensive-minded coach. There's always a great way to refresh your staff. But I think now, as the roster goes, and I believe as the roster stands right now, we have 15 guaranteed players right now, 15 guaranteed contracts.
Yes, 15.
That won't, I still genuinely believe.
And we're up on we're at the second apron right now.
Well, no. We're hard capped at the second apron. That means that we can't pass it. Yes. We can't pass the second apron because of the sign and trade. But we're still below the tax right now. So we're not even a tax-paying team right now. Now, I believe we're still not going to be a tax-paying team. We do have to have some sort of consolidation trade where we're trading a 3-for-1. And honestly, I'll even later in the show, I'll talk about timeframes because, and I'm not using it as an example, but even a Bradley Beal type of contract makes sense in regards to maybe a LeBron James because of the numbers, the money that it works. It could be a possibility. But what you don't want is have people stopping the development of this team. You want as many people in this roster as possible to not force your hand to play them. Now, what we have opposite to what OKC had, we don't have the core is not really super young in regards to we have a young veteran team with Bam and Tyler that have been to multiple finals, that have the experience. So that's the difference there. Now, this team kind of resembles a lot the 08-09 Heat when Wade was arguably MVP of the league in 08-09, and the team was struggling to make the playoffs. They were competitive, but they were surrounded with youth. No longer is 2026 a big free agency. Now it's 2027, 2028. That is the next target date for teams. So a lot of teams now are focusing on 2-year deals, which is why I say the Wiggins move is not a bad concept when it comes to contract-wise. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the year with us, but I don't expect it. I expect that they're going to capitalize and be able to move him, maybe not for what people are asking of. And the return that we're going to get for Wiggins, people are always going to compare it to what we gave up for Jimmy or what we got back in return for Jimmy. And as long as you got expirings and multiple assets, I'm okay with that because what you're doing is you're building for the future. Wiggins could be a rotational player for a playoff contending team. Wiggins is no longer a number 1 or number 2 option. Maybe he's your 3rd or 4th option. And granted, this is one thing that I've always believed in, and there is some truth to this. People like to talk about, we're running it back. People that say that are just ignorant to the fact of what running it back means. Running it back is you have the same exact team and it comes back intact, and that's how you're running it back. We made that mistake once. After we won the championship in 2006, we legit came back with the same exact team, and we got demolished. And that's when Pat decided never to do it again. We've had off seasons for Spo where it went from the LeBron era to extending Deion Waiters, extending James Johnson, extending Hassan Whiteside, to then getting Jimmy. So with a mindset of you want to surround Jimmy with as much talent as possible, we should have acquired Dame Lillard. It didn't happen. That would have been a different trajectory, honestly. But now that the East is wide open, you have a younger team, and a lot of people, of course, if you have the possibility of acquiring Kevin Durant, you got to do your due diligence. You got to be there until the very end because you do have a window that you can compete. You can compete in the East right now. Orlando got stronger. Cleveland got stronger. I love, for example, realistically, in the West, I love what Houston has done. I love what Denver has rebuilt their core in a matter of a day.
Denver's had a great offseason so far.
Amazing. Amazing. And you kind of see where certain teams are going to take a gap year. But with what we have in the nucleus, I believe the essential part, and you're going to see it, is a difference in offensive philosophy. You people talk about running it back. Last year, this team was orchestrated to still have Jimmy on the team. Yes, they were going to modify because they didn't change their offensive philosophy. They were going to modify their offense to still have Jimmy kind of like slow the game down, but they were going to be more of a three and layups. That's where the league is going. Now, what do I expect this year? You're going to expect Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo to exploit the mid-range. Why? That is a lost art in this game. And you can have elite mid. You don't need everybody taking mid-range shots. That's the problem. People talk about mid-range in the analytics. You have to have your elite players taking mid-range shots. Why? Because defenders no longer defend the mid-range. The mid-range is almost an easy bucket if you're highly efficient. Now, with that, Jovic needs to roll. And I expect, and I'm going to say it here, like I told you that I messaged you a few weeks ago, I expect a Jovic extension this year, believe it or not. There's going to be a team-friendly extension there where he takes the guarantee money due to injuries, and it's a movable contract. I'm talking about maybe three years, $40 million, something in that range. It's going to be in the $11-12 million range, kind of like Davion Mitchell. You might see that this offseason because he's extension eligible, and he's playing on the last year of his contract. I would not be surprised if that happens. Now, you want to move Rozier. What does it take to move Rozier? It has to be an expiring for an expiring, because you're not going to give up an asset to move Rozier. If you're going to do that, I don't believe in waiving and stretching him. There's no necessity for that. Just finish out the year.
Just let him finish it out. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Finish it out. What Milwaukee did was insane. I can understand you're doing the analytics, but to have a $23 million cap hit for the next 5 years is insane when you're trying to retain Giannis, especially for a move that you didn't even have to make. You had a great core with Jrue Holiday. You just made a splashy move to try to keep your star, and what happened? The same thing with Phoenix. Now, supposedly, Phoenix is in talks to waive and stretch Bradley Beal. It's, in my opinion, another mistake. Bradley Beal becomes an expiring deal next year. So there are many things here. The number one, we didn't expect this, but the number one domino could be LeBron James with the Lakers, and if Luka signs that extension. Because you see, Bobby, teams are aligning for 2027. Forget 2026. That draft class, that free agency class, that's non-existent. It's going to be shit. 27, 28, that's when it gets going. So you're going to see a lot of teams now take on an extra year in contracts, which is, I would not be surprised if the Bradley Beal move makes sense if it doesn't stop your growth, if it doesn't stunt your growth. The Dame Lillard signing, Dame Lillard's a prime example where he's taking a year off. He's conditioning with your team. He's rehabbing with your team. And by the next year, all these rookies that you're playing, Jovic, Ware, they got experience. Hawkins has experience. Larson has experience. Keshad Johnson has experience. Jakachunas has experience. All of a sudden, you have Dame and you bring him into this roster, you have a shot. Even right now, still, and I know this is not the roster that's going to go into the season. I know there's still going to be some moves. With a depleted East, this team could surprise a lot of people and get on a groove. We're going to be young. We're going to have struggles. But this team can compete with anybody in the East, except obviously the Clevelands, maybe obviously Orlando. Orlando really fortified themselves this year. So there's still a possibility in the East to compete, even with a young team. That's what people are not seeing now because it's just names. When you change up the style and these guys are playing free basketball, and there's a thing about Spo when he coaches USA basketball. When you play international competition, you see the difference in offensive styles. You see the difference in game flow. This team has to be a transitional team. This team has to play faster, physical, maybe not rely so much on the three. Like, you're going to see a more athletic team. That's what people are not expecting, and I expect it. They're going to be way more athletic this year than you've seen.
So
they'll have to play the Orlando Magic.
Well, and I want to say this, and then Troy, good evening, Troy. Troy has a question there. We'll answer that in just a second, and Adrian as well. But I will say, just because you brought up, you have to look into Katie. I get that. Like, again, I'm not saying don't explore your options because they're there. What I'm saying is, and that's more to the fans.
Correct.
Don't, because the Heat aren't doing that. The Heat are not hedging their bets on any one guy. Like, they're going to explore their options, but it's not make or break. To the, that's what I'm telling. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to harp on. Oh my God, I hope we get KD. Oh, I hope we get this Giannis. I hope we get that. It's like, no, dude. And because I'm going to be honest, I'm at the point now where I'm not trading any of the young guys, or I want to trade one. I would rather trade, and I'm not saying I want to, but I said if you were giving me a choice, because I want to just again grow with these young guys. I'm first. If you're embracing youth movement, look the first person the first people I'm looking to trade is a Tyler and a Bam. Because if you're going with the bait, like if you could try to get more draft capital and young pieces, do that. Andrew Wiggins, if he stays, he stays. Maybe he gets traded before if the halfway point of the season, if the Heat are at the bottom of the league or whatever, then they move him for whatever, and then they let him go. I love the idea of what they're talking about with the Lakers, the trade that's out there. But again, they're at 15 players already, so it has to be a 3-player unless you get a third team.
Correct.
Troy asks, "What's your guys' opinion on Kuminga of this team?" I'm gonna let Alex take it. I will say I am not against it, but I just don't see he is a young guy, so I will say that. He's a young player. I think he's what, Alex? Is he 24?
22.
22. So he's still, that's a young piece that can grow with your younger guys. He's not going to move. I don't think he moves the needle any one way. I think he's a benefit to the team. I think he helps you in the East in regards of 6 seed, 7 seed. Like, he's defensively, but he's not a guy where I'm like, oh, let's make a trade for the sake of a trade. Let's go make a trade. Let's go ahead and throw Jaquez and this guy, and let's go get this guy. No. He's not that. He's not the guy I think I would want to throw all my young guys in and for the sake of a trade. I'm not against it, but I'm not losing sleep over it. Alex, I know you're high on Kuminga and what he can do for this team. What are your thoughts on Kuminga on this team? What he can be?
Well, Kuminga in the right situation can be an elite 2-way player. If he improves his shooting, if he's consistent with his shooting, but his game is really not even a shooting. His game is getting to the basket. He gets to the basket at an elite level. And then he's productive. He's efficient while doing it. Defensively, when motivated, he could be arguably one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. He's physical. He's athletic. He's a great rebounder. So it's pieces that we lacked last year. We lacked physicality. We lacked that dog mentality where we became more of a finesse team. And that's completely against us because even Jakachunas looks like a baller, looks like he can go out there and compete with the toughest people out there. That's something that you're looking for. And when it comes to Kuminga is at the right price. I know he's using Miami now. He's dying to come to Miami. He wants to be a Miami Heat. But he's using us right now as leverage, which every player does.
That's
a lot of
fine.
people talk shit about Miami. I got no problem with that.
Business.
But
it's business.
Is Miami's interest legit? Absolutely. Because I know when they don't talk about a player, they're interested, but they're not going to show they're interested in this player. Why? Because they want to get him at their price. And realistically now, negotiations with the Warriors are not going well. Are the teams that could get him in Chicago, Sacramento, there's always that wild card team that comes into play. But realistically, it's who is willing to pay him what he wants to get paid. In my opinion, I think he's going to get, if I were him, I would sign a shorter term contract, maybe even a 2-year deal for like 20, 25 million a year. I know he's pushing for 30, maybe 35. He's not going to get that. But unless the team is desperate and gives it to him. But I see him signing a shorter term deal and then agreeing to a greater extension down the line. You just want to acquire him, so you acquire his bird rights and everything.
Let me ask you this. I want to get to Adrian's
Yeah.
question about Damian Lillard, because that's just a scenario we did not see
Correct.
coming. And again, it's all where I'm willing to explore it. You know, I'm not. That's one thing, but I want to. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I want to ask you this: what deal which one would you rather be done? Would you rather do? Would you rather do a Kuminga deal, which involves like Wiggins and Jaquez and a first or some whatever deal we heard? Or would you rather do the Lakers trade that's being thrown out there, where it's Wiggins for Dalton and for Dalton Connect, Rui, and a first? What deal would you think what would you be like? I'm gonna. Can I tell you mine, and then you?
Yeah,
can
go ahead. Go ahead.
And maybe you just play devil's advocate and go with the other way because that's what you do, or maybe you just agree. I would do the Lakers deal. I'll be honest. I think Dalton on this team with Rui is two young guys that could grow with your young core, and then an additional first from the Lakers, where maybe LeBron leaves, and then we don't know what's going to happen with Luka. I would go with that. And again, additional first. I don't care. The Heat, I love the Heat's picks in the later rounds. But what would you rather do? Because that's what I would go with the Lakers deal over the Golden State.
I would do both. I would do a 3-team deal, and I feel that we can get Dalton Connect and Kuminga, or use Dalton Connect to get Kuminga. But I actually like Dalton Connect. If it came down to me between those both deals, I would probably do the Lakers deal if it's Rui. I know I have to get either Gabe Vincent or Max Kleber or Max.
Yeah,
Kleber.
I did. I see Gabe Vincent. I did see Gabe in there. I did see one scenario.
You have to do it for the money to work. But it's gonna take either way. It's gonna take a 3-team deal because you gotta move. You gotta move personnel. So you're moving Wiggins to 1. I would try to get a 3-team deal where I'm possibly moving Rozier. I'm moving one of my young guys. It could be maybe a Highsmith, a Jaquez. You have to entice these teams with a young prospect.
But you're gonna have to
move
Rozier. You're gonna have to move an asset. You're gonna have to move a draft pick or something.
It might cost us one of our young players, which, depending on the situation, I'm okay with it. But it's gonna take. It could come down to a 3-4-team deal. But realistically, we can get Rui, we can get Dalton, we can get Kuminga. Like, now you're talking about
a different scenario.
Movement. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a different scenario.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I think one thing that I want people to understand: when things are quiet, that means that they're working behind the scenes. Miami always operates in this realm, and I'm not trying to like over glorify them, but when it's very quiet and when you don't hear anything, there are movements going on. And like, for example, even the Duncan situation, I'm gonna miss Duncan. I love Duncan, but it ran its course. There's a situation where things run its course. And look right here, Troy, even right there, Kuminga to Miami, Dalton, Rui, and Dalton to Golden State. It could work. There are things that could work. The only thing here that, in regards to this one, Troy, if it's a sign and trade, because the only way this works if it's a sign and trade with Kuminga at Golden State. So Golden State signs Kuminga and trades him to us or to the Lakers or whatnot. When you sign and trade a player, you can only take back 50% of that player's outgoing salary. So let's say he gets an extension for $25 million. What you could get in return is 12.5. So the money has to work. It could work with Rui and Dalton if Kuminga's contract is going up, or if they move other players and they're under the tax. So that, Troy, that's a move that could actually work, and it's a win-win for everybody in regards to what is moving. Supposedly, Miami wanted Dalton to kind of flip him for another first-round pick. I like Dalton Connect as a player. He's a shooter. So I just lost Duncan Robinson. I could develop him with Jack Kashunas, Hero, and Dalton Connect. You got an all-white backcourt lineup, man, and they're all ballers. So I got no problem.
Is that why you like it?
No, it's not that why I like it. It's just funny. It's just funny. When you got athletic white guys, it's funny to me. To me. About that. You know, sneaky athletic. Deceptively fast. Like all the white people terminology.
Jesus.
It's Bobby, it's true. Like, you tell me, really, when you see like a white guy that is really
I don't
fast,
see color,
like,
bro. I don't see color.
Shut up.
I don't see color, bro.
Unbelievable.
I don't. But
tell me, isn't it funny when you read the scouting reports and there's that white guy that's really fast? They're like, oh, he's deceptively quick. It's like, what? He can't just be fast because he's white, bro. What's wrong with you?
No, and this and what Adrian's saying, that's what I'm okay. And again, I'm with you guys on that with the Terry Rozier. I will say though, again, if this roster went right now with the way
Correct,
it
correct.
is, I am okay with the
Yes,
roster
yeah.
as it is right now.
Correct.
And I'm going to say this because I'm talking about like, hey, we don't know what Khalil Ware is going to be in his second year. We know we know that it's untapped potential. Jovic, let's see what he has. Hopefully, fully healthy. Let's see Jaquez in his third year. Let's see if that develops. Kaspers is a rookie, okay, who fell to you at pick 20, who should have been a top 10 pick. And here's the thing too.
And Bam's gonna love him, bro.
And he's a rookie, right? We say a rookie, but this guy's played in a pro league. He has experience. Exactly. So he knows the grind. He deals with the so people are gonna be this like I want to say this. Maybe a higher ceiling offensively, obviously, than Jaquez. But when it comes to playing like a veteran pro player, like Jaquez was a guy who was like, damn, this guy's played in the league for years. No, he hasn't. He's a rookie. That's what Kaspers is going to be like, I think. You're going to see a guy where you're watching him, you go, damn, this guy doesn't play like a rookie. That's what Kaspers is going to be like.
When you see Kaspers, you see a playmaker. You see a basketball player. You see someone that is that he's only going to continue to improve. A lot of people, what they liked about Jaquez was a polished basketball player fundamentally. Jaquez is not going to do anything that's going to blow your mind away. No. But he's going to do everything the right way.
That's right.
He's going to play the right way. He's going to play defense. He's going to rebound. So
he'll be that guy that has like one or two sneaky great playoff games.
Exactly.
Like, holy
shit,
damn, he scored 30 points.
Exactly.
He's that, yes. But he's the guy who, like, when you look at his numbers, you go, man, they weren't that great. No, but are you watching him and during the game? Do you see what he's doing? Do you see the screens he's setting?
I'm telling you, people don't see this, Bobby, as a collective.
I'm so excited, dude.
This
I really
am. This team with a different philosophy, with a different mindset, the depth that they have, even with their youth. People don't understand how good Pele Larson's going to play, Keshad Johnson's going to play. Even to me, the number one thing that I'm looking for is
Vlad Golden. Don't sleep on Vlad Golden.
Yes,
I'm telling Alex.
That could be your backup five.
Remember I told you, Keshad Johnson was another guy last year. I was like, hey, dude, watch him. Yeah. Vlad Golden, I texted you. I sent you a whole list, but there was guys. I brought up Vlad Golden during the draft. I was like, this guy, he's a clutch guy, but this guy is sneaky good. And then like when I saw him come on the screen and I saw a Heat sign, I'm like, Alex, holy crap.
Dude,
he's not some sneaky offensive great player.
No.
Dominant big guy. Like I could see him making the roster. I cannot wait for
great.
Wait, they play this Saturday.
Off the bench.
They play on Saturday, right?
Summer League, yeah.
There you go.
Now,
trying to see those young guys.
Get ready for the Summer League roster. Their Summer League roster is legit.
Yeah,
we probably have the best Summer League roster right now. Look, a lot of people don't like to go through this because we're at a custom high, and it's also we've missed out on the last couple of players that we've tried to acquire. But sometimes you have to go through these rebuilding phases.
Adrian, I'm this is not a lie. I'm not saying this just to say this. Alex could tell you he will call me out if I'm bullshitting, which I don't because I don't.
Probably just want another big white guy. He's like, yes,
that's not what it was. I had a list, okay, and a lot of guys fell off, but Vlad was number 2 on there. Because I was like, we need size, but Vlad, if you watch everything about him. So when I saw his name pop up that the Heat signed him, I sent Alex a list, and all of a sudden here comes the guys, and I go, we just got Vlad.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I love that kid. I'm like, I love the prospect of him. That makes sense.
I was reading the list. I'm like, this is extremely Caucasian.
No, it's not.
I'm playing. I'm joking. No. Big white guy. Sign him.
That's not what it was. I swear.
Frank Kaminsky.
No. Oh well. He was my Justice Winslow. He
was, remember? And it was the same.
I was like, Kaminsky, dude.
Exciting whites. That's true. When they have the image of Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and all that, it's exciting whites.
Nah, dude. But no, losing Dunk. Hey, you know what? And prayers up for Doll. You know, for we traded Duncan Robinson. I know she's still dealing with that. Alex froze up. That's at Hialeah Internet. You know, we'll wait for him to come back. Maybe he dropped out.
We're good. You're good?
Maybe Ice got him. Oh, there he is. Hey,
I'm good.
You just see Alex go, wait.
Yeah. Not today.
Not today. No, but again, I'm just going to tell you. I mean, we still have the whole off season left, but I'm
Yeah.
really excited about this team, and I'm saying that because we're going to make the playoffs. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about
Yeah.
watching this team grow.
Oh,
I want to
and
see these young guys go.
let's not forget. I want to answer this question about Dame.
We're not skipping it, but go ahead. If
Okay,
you want
okay,
to. Go ahead. Go.
No. Finish your point.
I was just gonna say now, like again, if this is the roster we're going with, I'm absolutely okay with it. I'm not gonna, when we get closer to the season, we'll make our predictions like we always do about where it's gonna be, and we'll probably, because we're biased and everything, may go a little overboard with where you think the Heat's gonna be. But legitimately, win, lose, or draw, I'm excited to see this team play on the court. These young guys go. I want to see these young guys. I want to see them playing. I want to see, man, I don't care if we win, lose, or draw, because I'm watching what they're doing on the court, because it's what you can build later on. And eventually they do become assets. If they're not going to be your future, eventually they're your assets. And you go, hey, we really want this other guy. Maybe we get an SGA of the future. We'll just see. I can't wait for Saturday. It's going to be, I'm going to be tuning in, and I know Alex is like, Bobby, you watching this? And I'm like, yes, because Alex will watch every summer league game. And
I love that competition in summer league, because this guy's
NBA, he'll be like, I didn't see it, but I watch highlights. But when it comes to summer league, that dude's on it, like right on rice.
Yeah.
And man, white is the word today. I guess that's our keyword. Remember Pee Wee Herman? If you say the word scream,
Yep.
right on rice. But Dame, yes. So something nobody was expecting. Mm-hmm. Nobody. And so we know it's just been a weird year for this league in regards for the NBA, in regards of the Achilles injuries and all this whatnot. But they decide that we're going to move on from Dame, and they go get Miles Turner, right? And I don't see the movement there. They're as long as you have Giannis, you're going to be on the top, especially in this East and this with the year that's coming. Giannis is they're going to be in the conversation just because they got Giannis. However, I don't see them better or worse. They're what it is. Now you lose Dame, you need, now, like you said,
they got a little younger. They got a little younger.
My thing though is that you're now have to pay Dame over what, 25 plus
$23 million for the next 5 years every year. That's against your cap. And I know your cap is going up, but it's still insane.
That's still, you lose Dame. I mean, Giannis eventually, now you're sitting there with a $25 million contract that you're going to have to eat. Now a team, maybe on the cusp of a playoff or trying to compete, could get Dame for probably a cheap deal. I don't know how that works, Alex.
Oh no, yeah. He
doesn't have to sign a big deal, right?
No. I mean, he can sign anything, but realistically, you're not gonna look at DeAndre Ayton. He signed for, I think, for like $8 million. So you're still gonna negotiate. But realistically, at Dame's age, if he wants to, based on the situation, he's already making $23 million a year. So now he can get, realistically, in my opinion, I think he might sign a 2-year deal. For like minimal with a player option, which I'm okay with that. And then once he plays, he's gonna become a free agent once again in 2027 after he signs his 2-year deal, and then he can negotiate a longer extension, but he's still getting his money. So he can now pick and choose for the first time in his career. He's a free agent. He can pick and choose the best situation for him, and it's gonna come at a cost for the team, very minimal, and they have the possibility to build a roster. So you went a year, and obviously it's because of his Achilles. If he doesn't tear his Achilles, Milwaukee's not going to trade him or release him. They could possibly trade him because he wanted out of Milwaukee. He never wanted to be in Milwaukee. So Milwaukee just went in at the last moment opportunistically and traded for him. But realistically, he doesn't get hurt. He gets moved, and he becomes an expiring contract eventually, which is a very valuable asset in this league. So it's a situational thing. The one that's going to be interesting to me is Phoenix, because it's crazy to me. Phoenix has the possibility to just let Beal's contract run out because they got youth. Phoenix is set. They don't have control of their picks. That's why they had to hit on every single pick they made this year. And I believe they hit on every single pick they made. Because even from Kobe Brea, Rasheer Fleming to me is going to be outstanding in this league. They got the Duke center, Malabaka, I think is how you pronounce his last name. So they hit on everything, which is great. But now they don't got any picks for the next 5 years. So that's it. That's their team. Now, when Beal's contract comes out of the books, now you could be a player. But I wouldn't want to stretch Beal. Like, I don't want to waive and stretch him if I'm the owner. I have a dead cap hit. I'll try to move him. I'll continue to try to move him or play him, because the problem with Beal is his contract, but Beal can still be a productive player in the right system. That's why the Heat didn't mind acquiring him if he would have waived his no trade clause, because he could still be a productive player in a certain situation. Like, he could have been our number one scoring option 2 years ago. It could have worked. But obviously what hangs over him is that contract and the no trade clause. That's the reason. Because Beal gets waived, he's going to sign right away any other team that wants him for a minimal contract or like a lower, cheaper deal. So it's just situations. A lot of teams now, they have to learn how to manage the cap, and they're seeing it. They have to manage the apron situations. A lot of teams are taking this year as a gap year. Indiana probably. Indiana's going to compete, but they lost arguably their best player. They lose their center. I thought they were going to be a major player for Aiden. Aiden ends up going to LA. So there's a lot of gap years going on in the East. In the West, you're going to have at least 10, 11 teams in the West. They're going to be like 10, 15 games over 500. And some of them are not going to make the playoffs. Like, that's how stacked that conference is.
Two great questions from Troy and Russ, but let me get Russ first, because that might make a quicker answer. But Russ says, your early season Eastern Conference favorite. I mean, it's way too early, but if you had to pick one team, which would that be?
Damn.
I mean,
I think the Sixers are going to improve a lot. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. The Magic, they're gonna go through some growing pains, but they're gonna improve. It's still probably Cleveland, and to an extent, what New York does, this could be beneficial for them. But Detroit is also gonna jump a lot of people.
So, I think Cleveland is the obvious answer right now. If you're gonna go way too early, based off what they've done and what they still have, and whatever. But you said two teams. I think, of course, I would not mind seeing the Magic do great, or do good, and. Yeah. So I would live in Orlando for many years. So that was like, I watched them a lot. So I wouldn't hate to see it. And I like their youth. I like their young roster, but Atlanta, I mean, that's a wild card. Sorry, Atlanta is the one. Yeah, dude. Atlanta had a great offseason. Solid, damn good offseason. And I mean, it's still going, but that's a team to watch out for next year, especially in this East. That's a lot weaker.
They got big and quick.
Yeah, they did.
They got huge.
They did. And so Atlanta, I think, is going to jump. They were at 9 last year. I think Atlanta could jump to the top 3 and top 5. I'll say top 5 just to be fair, but I think they're going to be in that conversation.
For sure.
Again, Magic, I think, is Magic. I mean, they have the young star power.
Yeah.
They made some solid deals. Again, they've been together for a while. Yeah. So they're adding to a team they're not ripping the core of that team. They're just trading pieces out and then adding more pieces through it. And so I'm with you. So Cleveland's the easy answer, but I'm just going to say Atlanta and the Magic are the ones that I'm like, those are the wild cards. And then we'll wrap up Heat because we're almost at the hour, but of the current roster of young guys on the Heat, how many would you say are keepers, Alex?
Young guys, I'm going to say for sure, without a doubt, Ware, Jakachunas, and for me, Jovic. Those are my 3 that I would hold on to them no matter what, because you just see the endless potential. And mark my words, Jakachunas is not going to start to begin his career.
No, he shouldn't. No.
When him and Jovic play together with Ware, because how I would handle the lineups is obviously you're going to start Ware, Bam. If Wiggins is on the roster, Hero and Mitchell. When you start subbing players in and out and you start the rotation, you have to find a way for Jovic to play with Ware, to play with Kashad Johnson, Larson, Jakachunas, and Hero. You have to find a combination where when Jakachunas and Jovic are on the floor, you're going to see the pace being pushed. You're going to see a European style of basketball being played. So I'm telling you, it's going to blow people's minds. There's going to be struggles, but you're going to see the glimpses of the talent in those 3 guys.
I'm going to say, and I'm being honest, I will go another route just to go the other route. I'll explain why, even though I wouldn't trade any of them. They're all, I wouldn't, the younger guys. I'm talking about the guys we all just drafted.
Yeah.
From Jovic to Jaquez, Ware, and Caspers. Those guys I'm keeping, I'm developing, and I move forward with those guys. Again, I would rather trade Bam or Hero and continue to develop and building on that youth. However, because Alex gave 3, I'll give 3. I'll say I agree with him on the first 2 because I'm not trading Ware whatsoever. He is untouchable, untouchable, untouchable. I believe in his upside. I believe this kid could be a superstar. Kaspers has that potential. We'll see how he does in the NBA in his rookie year. But he has all the ingredients of a star player in this league that could hopefully show up next year if played by Spo. I love Jovic. Again, I called for him when he got drafted. So and I love what he's done. I know there's upside. Injuries are an issue. Playtime is an issue. But you see when he's on the court what he can do. But I'll give a different answer just to give it for the sake of a different answer. And I will say Jaquez, just because you get a guy who can give you those veteran minutes. He's not a veteran. Well, he's going to be a veteran. He'll be 3 years in. But he'll give you what Jovic can't give, because Jovic, you're waiting for him to hit that to get the stride, and all of a sudden you see that potential and it's on the court, and oh my God, there it is. Jaquez is already there. Like, that's why Alex will say, oh, we know what Jaquez is already. There's not much growth left. He's only his 3rd year. He could still learn and do different things to his game, but to me, that's something you can't teach young guys. If he's already there, that's a guy that you could always go, okay, put Jaquez in. He's going to give you those solid minutes. So I'll just say that just to have a different answer. That's for me with Jaquez. But again, for me, don't trade any of them. Just ride it out with them. Trade. If you want to start trading, get rid of the other 2, and then just go straight up with the youth movement. What's up, Cap? 100% Suns don't want Bradley Beal to return. I don't believe him.
Of course not. But you see that right there. What do you?
Alex is frozen again. We'll wait for him to come back. There he is. Alex, very quick. I'm going to pop out for just a second, but I want you to talk about the Dolphins and, the recent trades, and then we'll get into the drama that's coming out of it. But I'm going to be right back, but get into what you thought about the Dolphin trades.
Oh, man. To me, what I loved is the fact that we were able to get Minkah Fitzpatrick out of this, which at the time, it seemed to be a cultural misfit with Brian Flores, which to me is insane because of the physicality. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a physical player, and Brian Flores was a very tough physical coach. So the fact that happened, and we shipped them off at the time, it rubbed fans the wrong way. And now we turned a situation with Jalen Ramsey that was unattainable in regards to his relationship with Mike McDaniel. There was a breaking point there. So he was going to be moved no matter what. The delay in moving him, I can assume, makes sense. The fact that what they were trying to get from him. Do I like that Juno Smith was included? No, but I think there's a fine line where overpaying for a player just based on 1 year. I know we were able to trade for Darren Waller. He came out of retirement. There's possibility there. He's very talented. He's very young. Obviously, there's uncertainty with his motor. How bad does he really want to play football? He returned to a music career. So there's many unanswered questions here. But overall, my honest opinion, I was happy that we were able to turn an older secondary player into someone that we drafted because we love this upside. We love this possibility. And he's a playmaker. He's a Pro Bowler. So to me, it's a win-win for us. It clears our cap a little bit as well, so we don't take such a huge cap hit, and it gives us possibility. Cap, I'm gonna read here. Tamper said that there are going to be decisions for everybody to make if Tua is unable to maintain good health this season. Yeah, that's for sure. This is a year where it comes down to, can you win with Tua? This is the final straw. This is a year that it can prove. But you see, one thing I'll say this, Cap, we might have a better structure right now if Tua does miss time, because that QB room is way more talented than it was last year. So that gives me a little bit of comfort. I got someone that can run this offense if Tua goes down. So that is also relief within itself. But to finalize the Fitzpatrick talk, the trade for the Ramsey trade for Fitzpatrick, it's a win-win from a dire situation where you had to move a player, a disgruntled player, and you actually got a very talented player in return. So it wasn't one of these situations. Usually a disgruntled player, it's a devalued asset. So you got to basically give them away just to have a problem, just to not have a problem on your team, on your roster. And also it's a cultural difference now. Now you have kind of like the Heat in that regard. You have a youth movement per se, a very talented youth movement where your veteran players, Tyreek Hill, you have an unknown secondary. So now with that comes the possibility you have a lot of hungry players that are trying to make a name for themselves in this league. They're trying to earn that second contract. They're trying to earn their first big contract. So you have a team that is hungry, which I believe that you have a great front seven now. You really do. So that within itself, our run defense was horrendous the last couple of years. Now you have a solid squad where people are not going to be able to run the ball against us, which that eases your secondary a little bit as well. They're going to be tested a little bit more, but I think it's part of the growing pains as well. So overall, I'm excited for this season in regards to, I know there's some bit negative commentary about the situation at hand due to the leadership. Mike McDaniel's a coach. This is really the prove it all season for us. Troy says, AJ, what's your record prediction with a healthy Tua? Man, with a healthy Tua, I'm going to go 12-5. And the reason I say that is because you've seen the primetime games that we have. There's something that the NFL sees. It could be with entertainment. It could be with talent. But this team looks like it's ready to make that leap in regards to who they are. Because this is, realistically, your running back room is great. Your offensive line is much better than it was the last couple of years, even with the retirement of Terron Armstead. It's a little bit inexperienced, but I believe we do have the athleticism to overcome that and the discipline as well. There comes a time with a young team that you reach the prove it year. You reach the moment where you have to be who you are or you're going to be replaced. It's very simple. And times of crisis, times of stress brings out the truth in people, and it brings out the truth competitor. So this year is a year where we're going to see what this team, what this nucleus is made of. And can it compete with the top dogs in the AFC and in the NFC? And there's nothing you can do because this is even a prove a year for Chris Greer, for McDaniel. I believe there might be actual jobs on the line depending on how this year goes. And I'm not talking about a freak injury because obviously that changes the dynamic. Tua will get hurt. It's just hopefully, look, I understand as a player, you're always at the risk of getting hurt. I know some players are more injury prone than others. And I wouldn't say injury prone. I would say getting hurt more prone. Like they're more prone to getting hurt because of the style of play. But also, I cannot take it away that he has learned to play the quarterback position as a professional. And now part of aging and part of becoming a better player is knowing limitations within your body, knowing to not put yourself at risk. Just because you're a competitor doesn't mean you have to put yourself at risk and remove yourself from the next possible play. Sometimes incomplete pass, throwing it away, spiking the ball. Sometimes you sacrifice yourself for an unnecessary sequence of events that removes the possibility of your future just because you were freaking out about the present there. So I think he's going to be relatively healthy. I think he's trained enough. He's stronger. So, and he's a smarter quarterback now than he was last year. If we could kiss him around the ball and we could find a quality starting center and Tua stays healthy, I can see 10-11 wins. Absolutely. The talent is there. Like, this team is talented. The talent is there. And defensively, I told Bobby during the offseason, I think we're going to surprise a lot of people how much of a run-stopping team we're going to be. I really like our front seven defensively. I think we got way better in the trenches than last year.
Oh, man. All right. So
welcome back, man.
Sorry about that.
No
apologize. Worries. But I know you.
The fans kept me company.
Yes, I know. And I want to thank everybody who's watching right now. We got over 150 plus people tuning in from all the channels. You know, we got if YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We appreciate you all watching. If you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, hop on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We talked Heat. Now we're talking Dolphins. I don't think that I've reacted too much. I did react to the Minka trade.
Yeah.
I was on with Finstanza and Steve Malloy. So we reacted to that. I think it was I'll just reiterate, I thought it was a solid trade because nobody thought we could get a player like that back in a deal. Because of what Fitzpatrick is. We know he wasn't the same player as he didn't have a great year last year, but he still was a solid player, and he is a solid player in the NFL. He's one of the top players in football, on defense, a captain, a leader. You got that type of player back. He looked amazing today in his training video. But you're able to get him back in a trade, which is awesome. You lose Janu, you trade for a Darren Waller, who we don't know what he's going to be like next year. That's like an Odell Fuller type of move, but we'll see. Again, he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. Hopefully he's in the right headspace. I heard Alex, you were saying a lot of good things. We'll wait and see. I'm still, when I was reading about the record, or somebody asked about the record, you brought up 12 wins. I'm still at the 9-8 scenario here. We still got to see how that secondary is going to look.
Yes.
That's something. Again, if Miami, the safeties look great now that you got Fitzpatrick, because you got Melifonwu, you got Ashton Davis, you got the rookies back there, McMorris and company, and then you got Minka Fitzpatrick. The cornerback room is the scary situation for Miami.
Do you still think we make a move for like Asante Samuel?
Oh yeah. Again, that's the wait and see, because Asante Samuel Jr. or I know somebody said we'll go check on is Howard or
Xavier bring X back.
Because since we were getting, but my thing is, if you had added Asante Samuel, again, Miami's probably going to add one guy. I don't see them adding. If they add two, great, but I don't see them adding two. But if they added a Samuel or Rasul Douglas, and then you got to, I think they're going to try to see maybe and hope and pray that Cam Smith shows up and shows out. You still have Storm Duck, and you got Kader Kohu. They're going to want to, and then of course Jason Marshall, who they drafted.
Yes.
But again, those are the wild. And again, I'm saying that's the scary part, but at the same time, we don't know what Jason Marshall is going to be. He may surprise us. He might be, whoa, wait a second, this guy's a steal. Whoa, he showed. We don't know that. But until we see it, until we get to see what the preseason looks like with these guys, which is a month away, which is crazy. That's
insane. Football. Oh my God, it's true. This is July already.
Yeah, it's right. It's around the corner,
man.
It's crazy, man. It's bittersweet and it's crazy.
Yeah.
But again, Jason Marshall might be that guy. Are you guys ever heard of Cam Smith talk? That's the thing. You ever heard?
Does he have a country accent?
I have not heard him talk. I have not heard him talk.
Because if he talks, I was surprised when I heard.
I don't care if I don't care how he talks. I want to see him play good. I have not seen him play good. I have not seen him on the field making any impact. And I just gotta hope that he shows up in year 3 or year whatever, and show up and show out. But that's a wait and see. But with this team, again, when healthy, I think could be a surprising team, but they just have to play smart. And then it comes down to coaching. Don't sound too bright. Well, yeah, I don't know. And it's really on McDaniel, again, to make sure these guys, I don't want to say fall in line, but play hard, play smart, the correct play calls, make sure you guys are all bought in, not half-assing it. And again, once you got that guy who's half-assing, whether that's a Tyreek or whatever, sit him down, sit him out, get him out. Just keep the guys that are fully engaged and get them in there. Very quick, I don't know if you spoke on this or not. And again, forgive me guys for stepping off for a second, but did you hear or read what Raheem Mostert had said about his departure and how
I did not.
Okay. So let me pull this up very quick. Unless somebody tells me ahead of time, pulls it up ahead of time. But yeah, he was hurt and he expressed that and so did Janu. But let me go ahead and pull this up. So, when Jonnu Smith was traded, he wrote, hot take, be a Pro Bowler on the Dolphins, get treated like shit. Happy for my guys, though, go ball out. So, and of course, he talking about himself, too, because what he did for Miami, because he had an awesome year before.
Yeah. But we signed him to a contract extension after that.
Yeah.
Those are things that, man.
Now, again, you don't want to see that from a guy, especially when he's, he was so close with Coach McDaniel to come out and say that. And then Janu yesterday, I did not get to see the interview. I did read some of it. He was on Taron Armstead's podcast and had some interesting things to say. Let me pull this up here.
You see, Armstead is one person that's never talked bad about the Dolphins.
No, you see, you always go. So he wrote, or he said, I'm in a situation where I'm appreciated now. You're always going to go where you're most valued and appreciated. He revealed the trade to the Steelers from Miami stung, given his production last season in Miami, and along with the assumption the Dolphins wanted him to stick around on offense. I felt like I was in a position, and one of the key ingredients to helping this team succeed. And after the season ended, me and my agent, we were like, this is a no-brainer. We're going to be here forever. Eventually, it came to a point at the time when they told me they can't do it. I had to make a decision to go where I'm appreciated and viewed on paper economically, contract-wise, as a top guy in this league, which I know I am. Pittsburgh was the team that saw me as that. I didn't foresee that happening with how the season went for me individually. Oh, he said that he thought he'd retire in Miami, but acknowledged the NFL as a business. I didn't foresee this happening, how the season went for me individually. I had aspirations of ending my career in Miami, with it being home for me and my children and my family, but I understand the business side of it. It didn't work out. I'm grateful. I got no ill feelings towards the Dolphins, Miami, and nobody in the organization. So he says it in a more professional, way.
Correct.
Yeah. But so what are your thoughts on that with the decision to, well, you don't have to really get into Raheem if you don't want to, but Janu and moving Janu, especially with what he was to this offense. Again, one of the next to H, and the most consistent player in this offense, productive player, moving on from him. And instead of paying him, you go now trade for a player who was retired last year.
Yeah. To me, unfortunately, he became kind of collateral because of the Ramsey trade request. And the fact that you were able to get Fitzpatrick, you needed to give that extra to be able to get Fitzpatrick, in my opinion. And it was a situation for him where he also went to a situation that he was going to be appreciated, he was going to be used, because Pittsburgh really has a 1-year window with Aaron Rodgers coming in. So they have to maximize that 1-year window, and then one of the developmental quarterbacks is going to take over. So that's the reality for them. Obviously, I don't know how productive Aaron Rodgers will be, but he is surrounded by a pretty decent cast over there. Great offensive line, so he could be productive there. Now, with Janu, the situation particularly is like, you don't want to overpay based on a 1-year production, like they said, for what he did. So we've seen the ups and downs. The fact that I don't know up to what extent they had the Waller situation already under wraps, and then knowing that was their secondary move. I know they've talked about possibly reaching out for Atlanta for Kyle Pitts. I don't believe that they did this move and they were regretting it in regards to, in comparisons to how much they would have to pay Jonnu Smith to secure him long term. So for me, maybe it wasn't worth it. And I know they really value the kid that they paid. That they picked this year. What's the tight end is it from Texas Tech or
who? Undrafted free agent?
Yes.
Jalen Conyers.
Yes, Conyers. So he seems to also fit the bill of what Miami Dolphins see in a tight end in that regards from playmaking at times, because Darren Waller's not going to be your lead blocker down the field in a double tight end formation. So it's something that you see the assets. I do think the fact that the running back room is so strong, they're going to be versatile. So they might not run the same exact sets that they ran last year with Jonnu Smith, but you do have a decent playmaker in Waller. He's a year removed from playing. I get that. So it's a risk, but it's still something that is worth it to not overpay a tight end based on 1 year of production for your team. So I'm okay with the deal. Am I going to miss him? Yeah, because he had arguably the best. Well, he did statistically have the best tight end season in Dolphins history. So if it would have been an affordable contract extension, I would have been all for it. But the fact that I look at him as being able to acquire Fitzpatrick because of him. So that's the extent of where I go to John. I'm going to miss him, but it was a 1 year thing. We couldn't come to an agreement on a contract extension. We move on.
There you go. So what do you got? What's your plans for this weekend with the 4th of July, brother? What do you got? What do you got going on? The fam.
Well, it's gonna be family time down here. We're heading actually up to Orlando on Sunday. So we're gonna be there for like 2 to 3 days. Hang out there, but it's pretty chill over here. We're bracing for rain. For some reason, 4th of July always rains here in Miami. So we're kind of prepping for that. But Central Park here in Doral, close to our house, opened up. They're gonna have the fireworks shows there. We might be in my in-laws. A lot of pool time, a little bit of barbecue, just a hang out, chill day, man. Celebrating our country's independence.
Yes, same.
Air quotes.
Yeah.
You see, it's going to pour, bro. Like we kept looking at the weather forecast, and I'm like, shit, man. Why can't we get one good day for July 4th?
Just one good day.
Just one, bro.
Yeah, the town up here in Franklin, they're gonna have a all day. It starts at 10 a.m. They're gonna have in the square, the town square, downtown Franklin. They're gonna have like a festival, and then it ends, of course, at this park that's not too far from the square. The fireworks. So we may go, depending. It's how crazy, because everybody wants to drive into town and take up all the parking and everything else. So it's like, I hate crowds. I'm not interested, but we may do that, or we just may chill. We love chilling at the house, and and just maybe try to see them at night. But yeah, we're up on the hour. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Great talk on Heat and Dolphins. We appreciate you all. Alex, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
I know, just wishing everybody a safe, very important, safe and happy 4th of July with your families, with your loved ones. And the off season right now, we're a crucial part where we only got one professional season going on, which is baseball. It's exciting for us as a Marlins, young team, winning ball games. But now it's the prep. Now comes the summer league. Now comes, like you said, NFL preseason. So now we kind of get like a resting period, like a 2-week resting period, and then we're full-fledged again with sports all day.
That's right.
Enjoy.
It never ends. And it won't end here in FTSN. But so much to do, so much to talk about. But I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you all for tuning in, and hope you all have a great 4th of July. I'll be back Saturday, unless there's breaking news tomorrow, but I'll be back Saturday with Finn's Talk today at noon with Fish Tank Hank, and of course, No Holds Barred Wrestling at 5 p.m. Eastern with Josh Kimmel on Saturday, and then Sunday On Deck Baseball Podcast with Russ Morgan. I'll be producing that one, but appreciate everybody tuning in, like and subscribe, and as always, good night, Miami.
Peace.
Gringos in the house, straight out of Hialeah, no